you guys. Action.
So we're still here. We're still talking about making a no-budget feature film.
We are.
So let's have a little chat today about part 2 of your plan, which is building your team. So we've already chatted about the script. So now it's about how did we build our team? Can you remember? Like, how did we build our team?
God, that was a long while ago. Yeah, I can. No. It's a great time.
Helpful. Okay, what was the first thing? No. How did we do it?
So obviously, as we've discussed and everything in all the other videos, first things that I always need. Well, I need 2 things when I reach out, and the 2 things I have when I reach out now was the script in a reasonable point and a date for when I am going to shoot or intend to shoot. I won't approach anyone without those 2 things because, as with The Passenger, for anyone to believe in what we were going to do and that we were actually going to do it, because it's the easiest thing in the world to say, I'm going to shoot film.
Yeah, totally.
But to actually get people to believe in you have to obviously have something to show them and to say, look, this is the story we want to tell. Do you like it? And be prepared for them to say, no, I don't. I don't want to be involved. And you have to have a date. So they know if they're going to commit to you in any way, shape or form, roughly what they're going to be committing to and when they're going to be committing to it.
Yeah. So madness or not, we had our date in mind, or you had a date in mind.
Yep.
And then, as I recall, we reached out to kind of the key people that we needed and that we knew.
Yeah.
So sort of DOP, first AD.
Yeah. So the DOP was a no-brainer. That was Ben. Obviously knew Ben, worked with Ben, loved Ben, so that was a no-brainer, and we kind of made this clandestine deal that if I could get him shooting on 35mm film, then he would do a feature film for me. So that was great because we'd done the short film, so I knew that one was good. Then obviously the editor, Mai, who met a few years ago and we've turned out to be great friends and it's a good working relationship, so he came on board as an editor, which was fantastic. So that's 2 huge roles filled. Production design, because I thought Eleanor is a star and I'm sure it's going to be a massive deal, but also I'm going to need help, just a bit of advice here and there on how it's going to look and how it should look, and that was that part of it. And then just getting her to sign on, even though she wouldn't necessarily be involved day one, was huge. And then of course Charlie as well, in either production or first AD role. I'm really glad she asked about the first AD role because wow, you needed a lot of enthusiasm for this shoot. So they were the first people that I thought.
Yeah, so I think the way we went about it was to approach those people we'd worked with before, that we'd shared our skills with before. I mean, we produced Mai's short film. Got Ben the 35mm that he wanted to shoot on for that film.
And I had worked with him on other shorts as well, and I had worked with him in a professional capacity, albeit not on the same sort of crews or anything. Mine was more production and his was more crew, but yes.
Yeah, but kind of reaching out to that kind of core group of people that hopefully you've kind of established and worked with before, or and that you have a good relationship with.
I think to be honest, that's more important than anything really, is at the indie level. Obviously you need craftspeople, obviously you need to check they can do what they can do, but it's really about personalities and having the right sort of group of people around you that you get on with and that will get on with each other in a really intense atmosphere.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about that the other day, and I think in any job that you do, I think what really makes it great is the people you work with.
Yeah.
And that couldn't be more true in a crazy low budget indie film way. So you reached out to those people with a date.
Yeah.
And then obviously didn't really have a great deal of money to offer. So
didn't really have any money to offer. Every penny needed to go as much as it could in front of the camera.
Yeah.
It wasn't the easiest sell in the world as well, because we're going to shoot it on GoPros. So from a technical point of view, everybody's a bit like, GoPros? Turned out to be the right thing to do, but at the time that's a difficult sell. So I think the best thing that we did, and the one thing that I would say to anyone else to try and learn is, which yourself, you just have to be honest.
Yeah.
You don't want to be honest. You don't want to say to anyone, oh, can you help me out? I've got no money. I'd really like you to help me. Take your time and your effort. But there's no worse feeling than getting 3 months down the line on either side of that conversation and then being told it.
Yeah,
so,
I think we were. I think we were upfront from the beginning.
100%.
I think people knew this wasn't.
I really hope we were anyway, because there'll be a lot of comments saying that's not true.
Yeah, maybe.
We tried to be.
But yeah, to let people know that
it's about letting them know what your budget is.
Yeah, exactly,
be it
and it's
nil
not,
or 10 or 1,000 or 1,000,000. Just be honest.
And I think that's where the skill share and what you can offer them kind of comes into it. So it's got to be a kind of a win-win situation for everybody.
That's a really good point.
So the fact of the matter was, we were all working on this low-budget feature film, and we were all going to get a credit on this low-budget feature film. So that in some way was going towards.
Yeah, so I think that's an important thing with Skillshare as well. And I don't really need to explain Skillshare. That's a pointless thing to do. But I always want people to try and get more value out of it than they're giving me.
Yeah.
Which is certainly not financially the case always. Well, actually, it usually is. But it's a case of you're going to get a credit on a feature film which you've never had before, or we're going to elevate your role. So if you've been a cameraman and a bloody good one, but you've never been a DOP, well, we can offer you that. To start building your CV and to work upwards. And it's just about, I think, that side of it really creates a community. If you've got people around you that might not be making any money but not really losing any, and they're getting something out of it that's creative or that's professional or something, I just think you really have to bear that in mind in indie filmmaking. You really, really do.
It's about helping each other, isn't it? About helping each other to sort of achieve something, and everybody has to have their own goal to achieve at the end of it. So you need to kind of help them reach.
And you'll find a lot of very professional people will help you on a no-budget feature or a low-budget feature or short, because of the fact they've been where you are now before. So don't ever be shy to go up to someone, even if they've got a ton of experience, to say, this is all I've got. We've landed some great actors on short films, and we've landed some great technicians and people just by being honest and saying, look, this is all I have. If you can't help me, that's fine, but if you can, that would be amazing. And people know whether you're being honest.
Yeah, well, you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah, but when you go out, be honest.
But we did have to look outside our...
Yes, we did.
Our sort of regular group.
Inner circle.
Yeah, for
the cult of Rome.
For other members of the team.
Yeah.
And I imagine other people, will need to do that as well. They're not going to know somebody that can fit into every single role. So Soundy, we reached out for a Soundy.
We did, and we were very lucky with our Soundy. But we well, you know the story, but because Marina unfortunately had a clash in her schedule, who we'd worked with before, we had to reach out at large to the community. I've got to learn to turn my phone off next time we do one of these. We had to reach out and say to people, look, we need your help, we're making a film, I've got X amount of money, if you're interested, come forward. Mandy, Shooting People, Production Base, Facebook, all these places are great places to reach out for me. Yeah,
there's also Facebook groups if you put a shout out on that, and just be clear, I think, about whether it's a paid or an unpaid role.
Yeah, be really clear about that, because it's your reputation as well. You don't want to piss people off.
Yeah, no, exactly, and you just want to be upfront about it. But finding crew members from Facebook groups, Mandy, Shooting People, or somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. Yeah. So people that you're working with will probably
Well, that's always your first port of call.
Know another person.
If you're working, if you need a gaffer and well, I'd love to have had a gaffer, but if you need a gaffer and you haven't got one, talk to your cameraman.
Yeah.
if you need a production assistant, you haven't got one, talk to a producer.
Yeah.
So it's kind of those heads of department, if you like, that can and help you out. But because it's a no budget feature, because of the commitment involved for the return, the initial return, the short term return, sometimes that's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's hard to ask someone to ask. You're already saying to them, I need to
again,
stretch the limits of our friendship. Can I now get you to do that?
Comes back to what's in it. What can they get from it? I mean, we did it. We managed it. We made it. But in hindsight, what do you think we could have? I've got something in my head I would do differently. I think next time.
Yeah, I think in terms of the getting people together, the meeting people. I think sometimes, for me, I'm a little too introverted. It doesn't always come across. Everyone's like, you're not an introvert, you're an extrovert. I love people. I absolutely do. And I love being around people. But it does drain me of my energy, so I will hide sometimes. And I think I could have got everyone together more and maybe, communicated a little more during the pre-production process.
Yeah.
I'm glad and proud of myself to say that, during production, during the actual photography of it, I was always communicating or trying to and making sure at the end of the day that I communicated to everyone how grateful I was. But I think during pre-production, I could have reached out a little bit more and got less self-involved about the project, because when you're directing and you're producing, it's so easy just to fall back into your group of 2 or 3 people that you feel safe in, and especially with us, because we're obviously going out as well. It's like the easiest thing in the world. We live together, so we can
I think definitely to get everybody together for a meal or for drinks, to get the whole team together at least once before you walk onto set that first day is a really integral thing. I wish we'd done that. That would have been really good.
And especially actually for people like Shax, who joined us late. It would have been really nice to have been able to bring him along for the whole crew to get to know him and for him to get to know the whole crew. Because that poor soul turns up for day one, or gets picked up day one and doesn't know anyone, and that's got to be really
I think
hard.
It's really hard. I think it's important that, that there's a bit of rapport there, and that people, if you've got that opportunity, I think make the time to have that one evening. If it's just one evening, it's, it's better than nothing, where people can just touch base and kind of understand each other.
And to be really honest as well, when you do that, feed and water them. Because then they'll realise that you are going to feed and water them, even though, it kind of offsets the eating sandwiches for 6 days straight feeling when you're on set.
Exactly. But, I think the other thing, I would probably do slightly differently is just to take a little bit more time. I think building the team happened for us relatively quickly because it's something we'd been talking about, and then once we had a script, we kind of went back to those people we talked to about it. But I would say sort of take your time, get the people, get the people you want, get the people you need, and don't panic and rush yourself.
I wanted to say actually, kind of Matteo, who we used to work with, who's now at Devilworks, he was amazing because he was like, look, Brian, time's free for you. So, take your time.
And you don't always feel like that. You feel like you put your own deadlines on these things.
Because I will rush it. But, sorry, I also wanted to say stay flexible to how you find people. Because one thing I'm really happy about was someone I work with in the real world, totally outside of film. Matt came on board purely to do our music, purely on the basis that I heard him at work playing around with his music and really enjoyed it, really liked the sort of music he kept pointing out to me. I'd be like, give me someone to listen to on the way home. And he always had these great ideas, and I was able to throw these ideas at him, and I never thought I'd meet anyone through my day job that wants to do music on my feature film. Not ever. Well,
that's it. You never know what people...
And so stay really open to, every person you meet is a potential collaborator, is my point. They might not be on this project, but really every single one is a collaborator.
The other thing I think we've talked about before, in terms of your team, and we've had this on every other shoot, but we didn't have it on the feature, was a runner.
Why didn't we have it on the passenger?
We should have had a runner.
So runner, get a runner. Get 2 runners, get 3 runners, get 5. No, don't overdo it.
Just that one person that could have, helped out.
Yeah.
Gone and got us batteries when we needed it. Gone and got everybody some coffees.
100%.
Just to have that extra person.
Yeah.
I think would have made a big difference because everybody was doubling up jobs.
Yeah.
And it's really, really hard.
Yeah. And runners are great because they're enthusiastic, because they're young and they're trying to find a route in. And as long as you treat them with the same level of respect you treat everybody else on the crew, not only do the crew pick up on it and love it, the runner then loves it and usually ends up progressing with you as well. I would never say Charlie was a runner, but how we met her was my first AD and now a producer TV, and she did running effectively on Numbers Up way back 10, 11 years ago. So, that I think again is just proof that if you find one, they can be a real resource. But please, I would say to anyone reaching out for a runner, if they're sort of watching this, is get one that can drive and has a car.
Yeah.
Because they could have taken. I had to drive, as you know, the actors, to set every day, which I didn't mind one jot. They were fantastic people. However, some days I was exhausted.
Yeah.
I was emotionally drained on the way in or the way back, and you have to still put a layer on of confidence and joy that you probably just want to fall asleep. So don't get me wrong, it was a godsend in some ways because I got great time with the actors on the way to set that I would. I think
it swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
But to have had that option on one of the days, would have been amazing.
It would have been good. Okay, so I think that's kind of how we built our team and how we put it all together. I think
so. I think that's how you do it. I think afterwards as well. The other thing I just very quickly want to say is, after the film has wrapped, make sure you reward them with a screening of some sort.
Yeah.
Because we managed to get a lovely space to do our screening afterwards, and it was just lovely to get everyone together in an environment that's not stressful, that isn't everyone running around trying to achieve it, and actually show them, look, we did this, you did it, thank you, have a bit of food, have a little bit of drink.
Yeah.
We'll all go out afterwards, because by that point you're a total family, and then hopefully you'll work with them again.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, next time I'm going to chat to you about the money, or the lack of money.
Don't want to talk about money.
Well,
no, I'm joking.
There isn't much money to talk about, so it's fine. It'll probably be 2 minutes.
No, I think this is a hard conversation, a really important one, though, the next one. Because I've heard pretty much every myth about money in film, and I've been involved in a lot of levels of different finance in film from an indie perspective, and it's gone wrong as well as right. And I'm hoping this conversation can just tell people how they can do it on their own. Mm-hmm. You don't have to use money as an excuse.
Yeah.
It isn't a viable excuse anymore. Money. So yeah, we'll talk about that. Oh. Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Nice cup of tea.